Hi, I'm Furness. You're probably wondering what this video is, and why I'm making it. In my videos, you'll have seen a number of custom models that I've made, varying from simple repaints to entire custom builds. Some people have asked me how I make these customs, so I thought what better way to explain my processes than through a video series detailing how I make them. This is Furness's Workshop. Now this video is quite different to the others on my channel, so for this first episode of Furness's Workshop, I thought I'd start simple with everyone's favourite #1 engine, Thomas. Thomas has been seen with a number of different variations in both the show and the books, but I only have 3 models for him, not counting the ones I haven't customised. One standard Thomas, a flat running board Thomas as seen in the Railway series, and an Origins Thomas as seen in The Adventure Begins. All of which use the Adventures Talking Thomas as a base. The standard Thomas has no modifications. It is simply a regular Adventures Talking Thomas with a painted running board and a golden cap funnel. A fun little headcanon I thought Thomas could have. This Thomas is my oldest one, and it shows in some areas. The second Thomas I have is the flat running board Thomas, as he's seen with in the later half of the Railway series. This Thomas was probably the most tedious model to make out for free, as the methods I used weren't exactly the best. The running board was made with some cheap modelling clay which you can get from any local hobby store. I did it to both ends and used a small piece of card to flatten it out. I then let it sit and dry for a few days before priming and repainting it red. Unlike in the Railway series, I painted the footplate white to match my other Thomas. I think it turned out fine in the end, but there are areas where the clay has been slightly damaged, and it can be seen in some places. I plan to go back and fix that someday. The most recent Thomas in my collection is the Origins Thomas, painted up as he was seen in The Adventure Begins. In The Adventure Begins, Thomas is painted in a fictionalised LBSE teal green with white lining, which bears somewhat of a resemblance to the Southern Railway's malachite green. Now realistically, Thomas would have been painted in either LBSE brown or black like the real life V2s, and while I want to strive for realism, I actually prefer the fictional livery over the realistic ones, so I ended up going for green. However, I decided to go for something closer to the malachite shade of green, rather than teal, just to keep some real life inspiration on it. The paint I used was an emerald shade acrylic by De La Rowney, which I think is a really nice shade of green. I first primed all of the parts I would be painting before brushing on several layers of emerald to get a nice even coat. Then using a thinnest brush I own, I painted the white lining over it. I'll admit it isn't the best finish, but it's what I'm sticking with. The final touches were painting the golden cap on the funnel and making custom lettering and numbers to go on the side, which I created with Pixlr, an app I use for most of my editing. I then scaled the lettering and numbers to the correct size and printed them off. Unlike in The Adventure Begins, my Thomas is number 110. I made this change because the real life LBSE 70 is a terrier, which is poplar to be exact, and 110 is more in line with the real E2s, as the last one was number 109. All of my Thomases, just like a few of my other models, have custom paper faces, which I made using Microsoft Paint, and the official model faces as a base, with each face having directional eyes. I might do a tutorial on how I make these one day, if people are interested. So that was my walkthrough of my 3 Thomas models. I hope you all enjoyed the first episode of Furness's Workshop, as this is a series of which I've been planning for a while now. Be on the lookout for more episodes in the future, and check out my other videos to see these models in action. If you did enjoy this video, then please consider dropping a like and subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.